Hi. Got a letter from Victoria. Victoria says, I'm looking for some suggestions on daily practice. Living the householder life with a full-time job outside the home and 2 boys under 3 leaves little energy for formal practice. But I try practicing mindfulness in daily activities like washing the dishes. Lately I've noticed more thinking and would like to incorporate some formal practice, but I'm not sure about what would be the most beneficial if I only have practiced a short time each day. At various times I've tried breath meditation, metta meditation, walking meditation and reciting the refuges. If I only have time in the day for one of these practices, is it best to stick with the same practice every day or to rotate them through a predictable order? And if I do stick with one, how do I choose? Also, if I like the metta practice, how do I choose a person or people for whom to practice the metta for? Lately my mind has been too restless for breath meditation to be effective. It feels like my mind just jumps around and I get lost in thought. Metta meditation is a bit better in that my mind still wanders, but I'm aware of the thinking and not as lost in it. But I have trouble choosing a person to practice metta for. I feel like I jump around, offering metta to myself, then to my family, then to a benefactor, then someone else, and never sticking with any one person for long, and worrying it could be undermining my metta practice. Could you talk about the different practices and when different practices are useful, as well as about the metta meditation as taught by Mahasi Sayadaw, and how to choose a person for offering metta to? Okay. Wow. Full-time job and 2 boys under 3. Woo! Okay. The various types of meditation. You're talking about breath meditation. I'm going to assume that you're talking about the practice of samatha meditation. Now, to be honest, what sprang to mind when I first started to read your question was samatha would probably be the best practice for you to try and do on a formal type basis. You're saying at the moment you're not doing anything formal, you're doing a little bit of mindfulness meditation, or what I would call vipassana meditation, for instance when you're washing the dishes, which is great. You're washing the dishes and we don't think about anything else. We don't think about what's on the tally. Then again, you're probably wondering what the children are up to, but we try and just stay with the job at hand. So when we're washing the dishes, we just try to be fully in that particular practice and not letting the mind wander off elsewhere. Normally, when the mind is feeling agitated, the practice of samatha meditation or just watching the breath can actually be quite useful. All we're doing is there's an awareness. I'm not quite sure what sort of breath meditation you do. Some people will bring their focus to where the breath enters the nostrils and where it exits the nostrils. And they're just aware sometimes that the air can be cool as it enters the nostril and it can be warm as it exits the nostril. Some people use the counting technique. So now I'm not an expert on these particular techniques, so I'm not going to go into anything too deeply. But with the counting technique, my understanding is, on the in-breath, as you breathe in through the nostrils, you just count 1. As you breathe out through the nostril, 1. As you breathe in, 2. As you breathe out, 2. And somebody was saying to me the other day, the way they learned it was you continue to count up until you get to the stage where you've actually forgotten what number you're on, and then you can go back to 1. Now, with breath meditation, with all the thoughts that arise, it's okay. We just keep coming back. As say, maybe you've forgotten what count you're on, but just come back to whether it's the breath coming in through the nostril or whether you're using the rising and the falling of the abdomen. But what we're not doing is we're not investigating how it arises. With Vipassana meditation, for instance, we would be aware that there's a beginning of the rising, the duration of the rising, the end of the rising, and then we would be aware that after the end of the arising, then the falling of the abdomen starts. So there's the beginning, there's the process of the falling, and then there's the ending of the falling. And we start to investigate the conditions for the rising and the falling of the abdomen, for instance. Well, we're not doing that with the samatha side of the meditation. Now, in actual fact, we get these discussions about samatha or vipassana. Now, they actually do go hand in hand. There are some people who just practice straight samatha meditation. There are others who practice straight vipassana meditation. But in actual fact, we need both of them. We need the concentration as well as the insight, the mindfulness meditation that we're using. So we can see that they are pretty much, Ajahn Chah used to say that it was two ends of the same stick. But clearly with the samatha side of it, with the breath meditation, don't worry about the thoughts, Victoria. With practice, with time, you'll find that the thoughts will slowly taper off. But it does sound like you've got a very busy life. As you say, you have a full-time job outside of the home. You've got two little boys at the age of 3. My gosh, I hope they were nothing like I was at the age of 3. But they're going to keep you occupied. And so thinking is naturally going to arise. And as a householder, of course, and as a mum, you've got a lot of things that you do need to think about. That it's probably not as easy to put all these things aside as it would be for somebody like me, for instance. As a monastic, I don't have quite so many responsibilities, and so it's easier for me to put the thinking to the side and just concentrate with the meditation practice. Now, in regards to your metta meditation, first of all, every time I meditate, at the end of my meditation session, I always send metta. Now, the reason for this is the amount of virtuous merit accumulated through the practice of meditation. It's an amazing amount of merit that we receive. And so the first thing we do when we finish our practice, maybe I've been sitting for 45 minutes or whatever, I get to the end of the practice and I automatically do metta meditation. Now, the metta meditation that I actually do is quite a simple one. It's, may all the virtuous merit accumulated due to this meditation session, may it be offered to all sentient beings. May they all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they all be happy and know the cause of happiness. And then I finish it off with, may I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I be happy and know the cause of happiness. And so this is something, as I say, I do it at the end of every meditation session, is offer the metta out. Now, it's good to see that, you mentioned that you offer metta to yourself, because many people tend to forget to offer metta to themselves, and it's okay to do this, You're allowed to be happy. And so, choosing a person, you say that you jump around a lot. Well, in actual fact, one practice of metta meditation that is taught is they start off, the way I was taught was the first thing you do is you offer metta to your parents. They're the ones who brought you into this world. They're the ones who educated you, fed you, clothed you, and basically took care of you. Now, for some people this is a bit difficult because that wasn't quite the way that their childhood was, and so it would be suggested that, the auntie, the cousin, the grandparents who may have taken care of them, offer metta to them. But remembering, even if you didn't have the best childhood, if your parents weren't quite what we would like parents to be like, they still deserve our compassion. So now, of course, you have a family, and so you're going to start off, offering metta to your parents, offering metta to yourself, offering parents to your immediate family, so your children, if you have brothers, sisters, a partner, we offer metta to them. And then often after this, we take it to, all of the rallies, all the cousins, the uncles and the aunties and all that sort of stuff. We take it to our neighbours, to the people in our street, to those in our local community, to our city, to our country, to the continent that you live upon. And then generally speaking, we spread it out to the entire world. And of course, in Buddhist practice, we also offer metta up to all sentient beings. So we remember those who are in the Deva realms. Remembering those who are in the Deva realms are still subject to suffering. When the virtuous merit that has got them into the Deva realms is exhausted, they will fall down, and they may well be reborn in one of the lower realms. They could be born in the Peta realm, in the animal realms, and any of the hell realms. And so they too need our metta. The animals of the earth, the birds in the air, all the creatures of the sea. And as I say, the petas, the hungry ghosts, they also, need metta. And those in the hell realms, So we offer metta to all sentient beings throughout beginningless time. And so, jumping around, it's not that unusual, because we try and spread the metta as far and as wide as we possibly can. And can this lessen your metta practice? No. It can only help to strengthen it. One thing I would like to say is, don't forget those who we don't like. It's all very well and good to send metta to those beings that we do like, to those beings that we can see are suffering. But don't forget the beings that cause suffering. We see on the news all too often these days some of these regimes, some of these dictatorships and things like that, who treat their people abominably. They're just oppressing them 24/7. Well, we often forget that they too are suffering, and the things that they are doing, the crimes against humanity, for instance, that are being committed by many of these people, we have to stop and think about where they're going to go. And chances are they're going to have a very, very low rebirth, and there's going to be a lot of suffering for a long, long, incalculable period of time, periods of times that our minds just can't take into consideration. And so these people also need our metta sent to them, So which one should you be practicing? Well, I say, personally, with a mind that's jumping, with lots of thinking and stuff like that, I would go back to just trying to stay with the breath. As I say, not doing the analytical, investigative side of it, but just being aware. 1, 2, 2. And you will find that your mind will start to calm down. the thoughts are going to be there for a while, but that's okay. We just come back to the counting of the breath, or to watching the rising and the falling. As I say, don't worry about the analysing of it. Rotating it, that would be entirely up to you. If you feel that you can rotate it, fine. But personally, what I would do is I would find one, and as I've said, I would probably go for the samatha, for the concentration meditation, which will calm the mind down. It will bring you to a state of tranquility, and it can take you a lot further than that. But without getting into technical details of jhanic states and things like that, the first thing that it's going to do, it's going to calm the mind down. And that's the most important part of the stage. Afterwards, if you feel like it, then you can start to do other forms of meditation. But as I say, even with your dishwashing, you're already starting to do the insight meditation. This is where we're just staying with the dishwashing. We're not moving. If our thoughts start to stray, we just bring it back to being mindful of the moment of washing the dishes. We're aware of the heat of the water, the bubbles, noises that, like your washcloth might make as it passes over a plate. All these sorts of things, we can be aware of these. This is the mindfulness meditation, and that's fine. Keep that practice up. But I would say for your formal practice right now, I would go for samatha meditation. I would just try and calm the mind down. Now, once you've gotten to a stage, and as I say, this can take some time, but once you've gotten to a stage that your mind is calm, then you might wish to take up another side of things, like the vipassana side of things. Or you may even find that whilst you're practicing the samatha, the insight also starts to arise at the same time, which of course is more than just possible, And so I wish you all the best, and if you have any more questions, Victoria, please feel free to ask me. Okay, thank you.